Hello my fellow SimRig racers, welcome to today's video where we're in iRacing and we're doing a new versus old. We're going to take out the original Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car in its 991 spec for a couple of laps around the Hungaroring, and we're going to then directly compare it to the new for season 4 992 spec Porsche Cup car and find out which one's the quickest and which one's the best. So come and join me out on track after the intro. Welcome iRacing fans to this new versus old video. As you are well aware, if you've watched any of my other videos, we had a brand new Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car in the 2021 season 4 build. So we're now able to race the all-new 992 spec car. Well, I wanted to see what was best, what was quickest. The original 991 spec car that we've had for many a season now, or the new 992 spec that's just come out. So here I am at the Hungaroring, and I'm just going to see what sort of lap I can put together in the now legacy 991 spec Cup car. And I can tell you straight away, this car is as big a handful as it's always been. That rear end just wants to skip out and try and swap ends. It gets really unsettled over the curbs. And it's just ultra sensitive. I am using the baseline setups for this and the new car, but it just feels like it wants to break away. It feels like it just wants to try and kill you at every turn. This has less power than the new 992 spec, but it is coupled to a far less sophisticated chassis and drivetrain, which, boy, it's such a challenge to drive, and it's so pitchy and squirmy. I just wanted to go back to back just to see how far forward both iRacing have come in terms of developing cars for the service, and from a technical standpoint, from the old versus the new, to see what those chassis and drivetrain developments have brought. But this is a real handful. I'm having to grip the wheel. I'm having to move the steering and make corrections all the time. It's hard to ride the curbs because the car just gets so unsettled and has a tendency to want to bounce. But I can barely string a sentence together while I try and get a lap out of this car. Oh, this is the Porsche Cup car of old. An ultimate challenge, but it really does feel so rewarding if you do ever nail that perfect lap, or in my case that perfect corner. Right, I'll post the time up at the end of this lap, and then we'll move on to the new 992 spec and see how that feels over a couple of quick laps. So we're now in the virtual cockpit of the new 992 spec Porsche 911 Cup car. This was the new one that came out for the 2021 season 4 build. And of course we have a whole new chassis. We've got more power, 510 brake horsepower. but we've got new drivetrain, electronic drivetrain, to help manage some of that extra power. Dimensionally, the car sits a little wider, and straight away you notice it's far more compliant. You can really pitch that nose in. The way it rides at the curbs, the chassis is a lot more, you know, subtle now. It just doesn't have that bounce, that flex that it had before, that would oscillate through the car and just upset the handling. Now, don't get me wrong, it will bite. You've still not got any ABS or traction control, so it's still not as feature equipped as its, you know, bigger GT3 brother. But it feels more confident. It's a more stable platform that you can build on. It's easier to find the limit. Once you go over the limit, she will snap and you will find yourself facing the wrong way, just like that. So don't be fooled into thinking this is an easy car to drive. It's just it's a little more forgiving, a little bit more compliant. You can use more of the track limits. You've still got to fight the car. You need to be as progressive as you can on the throttle, because the back end will squirm around under power. But it's just... It's still a car that requires thought and concentration, but it's no longer quite so scary to drive. Those of us of a more average talent level, and I include myself with that, now have half a chance of getting from the beginning to the end of a race. So I think this is going to be great for participation in the Porsche Cup Car Series. I will be taking part in it, so remember to subscribe to watch my racing action and see how I get on, and see whether I end up eating my words about saying that this car is more compliant and more comfortable. What I will do is I'll post the time that I got with this car, and we can see which is quicker, new or old. To be honest with it, I think it's a pretty foregone conclusion. New, as is always the case, is always better. Right. Whew. Thanks for watching this quick back-to-back of the two Porsche Cup cars, the 911 and the 992 spec. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. Have you driven both the cars? Which one do you prefer? And will you be taking part in the Porsche Cup Car Series on iRacing for Season 4? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Race hard, race fair. Catch you out on track. Bye bye.